Sup, y'all? Breezy here, and this is The Desert Road. If you're new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notification. Also, please subscribe. I just got done recording the last episodes of Down the Rabbit Hole and Dark Academia for Insomniacs. And I feel like now's a good time for me to properly end those so I can move forward with other projects. And it's only fair, I haven't done any of those in a while, and it's not because I lost interest, it's because I had a lot of personal stuff going on. But today we're going to be talking about something that hits very hard for me, and it is going to be in Acts 16, 6 to 10. And what we're going to be talking about is when God closes the door that leaves you confused. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Now, I want you to imagine that there is a door that is jammed so tight that you can't open it. You're standing there trying to open that door, but nothing is happening. You're getting confused, frustrated, annoyed, and mad that you can't open this door whatsoever, no matter how hard you try. What if I told you there was a reason that door was closed? And you're probably at this point thinking, I've done lost my mind. Well, that part might be true. But that door is closed because God closed the door on you. And you don't know why He did it. But right now, you're just trying to understand, why did He close the door? What is He doing? Like, when did He close this door? So, there's a story in the Bible. It is Acts 16, 6 to 10. And it goes, Paul and his companions traveled throughout the region of Phrygia and Galatia, having been kept by the Holy Spirit in preaching to the world in the province of Asia. When they came to the border of Mysia, and they tried to enter Bithynia, but the Spirit of Jesus would not allow them in. So they passed by Mysia, went in through Troas, and during the night Paul had a vision of a man of Macedonia, standing there and begging him to come over to Macedonia and help us. Now, after Paul had this vision, we get after Paul has seen this vision, we get ready at once to leave for Macedonia, concluding that God had called us there to preach the gospel to them. I thought about this story, and this is a great example of God closing a door and that left a confusing feeling to those involved. Think about it. The Holy Spirit did forbid Paul and his companions from preaching in Asia and Bithynia. Now, despite their good intentions, God would close the paths and redirect them toward a greater purpose in Macedonia. And here's a little context behind the story. Is that Paul had an active and fruitful ministry, and he had claimed to bring the gospel to the Pacific region. And he faced the door where they were forbidden by the Holy Spirit to speak to them, and would not permit them. And there was an unknown reason, but that closed door, that reason was the reason that Paul did not immediately wonder why his efforts to serve was denied. Now, here's the purpose of that. That closed door was not a rejection. It was instead a redirection for a divine protection of timing. This would lead Paul to Macedonia, where a crucial breakthrough would occur. Now, back in 2023, I moved to Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Okay? And I have lived in Alabama my whole life, and my plan was, as soon as I get there, was to get a job as a paralegal, work on my bachelor's from MTSU. Needless to say, I would go to interviews, never get the job. I will never understand why. And I had an associate's in paralegal, okay? Let's keep that in mind. And eventually, I would get my notary public, thinking, you know what? That might help me out, because I was a notary back in Alabama. I was getting my notary back in Tennessee. It started to take a toll on my confidence. I became so angry and confused. And here's the thing, I wasn't angry at God. I was angry at myself because I kept getting my hopes up and I literally did not understand at that time that that was God closing a door. And I literally slipped into this rejection state that ultimately led to me taking a step back from school. The constant rejection got to me, honestly, and I eventually got to a point where I didn't get my hopes up every time I went to an interview. I did come to that realization, though, that that door was closed, but I was confused and mad for not realizing it sooner. And eventually, I got to that point where I was at peace with it. I came to understand that God closed that door for a reason. I may not understand the reason behind him closing that door, and I trust me, I was heavily confused. But I say this because imagine how Paul must have felt during this time that they could not understand um, why they could not understand that mixed. They could not. Let me try that again. They could not understand why they were blocked from serving. They understood when they got to Macedonia that they eventually that a door is currently closed or closed that you left confused or a mixture of emotions. And just remember, um, that you may feel like it's a rejection right now. But eventually, you're gonna learn that this is a redirection in your life. Maybe there's a passion that you forget that you had in your life. Maybe there is a job that you never knew was meant for you. And maybe God closed this door not as a rejection, but as a redirection in your life. And I honestly think that, yes, He will close a door. That He opened for you for a reason. It could be maybe you served your time at that job. And it could be maybe you're meant for something else in this lifetime. And God is just trying to give you that redirection you need. Now, most of y'all know I do love a good song, especially if it appeals to a certain situation. And there's a song by Jordana Bryant that I heard and it really got me through that time. And it's called When God Closes Doors. And I'm going to go through and read some of the lyrics for you. Yes, I can't because it's my podcast, right? But there's no use pretending I don't have all these questions. Like, why's it gotta go this way? How long's it gonna take? Have we all been there? Yes. Do we all wonder why is doing this to us right now? Yes, we do. And she also goes on with I try to fight him, but at the end of the day, when God closes doors, I can't pry them open. And I might not be knocking if I saw what's on the other side. And she sings, guess this ain't the one, but this ain't where the road ends. He's somewhere waiting and leaving me on a light. And she, but it's true. He is somewhere waiting for us. But she also goes on to say, yeah, it hurts when I see him slamming. Nothing works out the way I planned it. Mm-hmm. He's just saying, right key, wrong porch. And think about how deep that one is. The right key, the wrong porch. Maybe there is a right key somewhere. You're just on that wrong porch and you just need to get up there and realize it. But also, there's maybe a blessing, and she goes on to the second verse where she goes, sometimes a blessing shows up in disguise, letting go of one thing and taking hold of something else. Wish I could have a bird's eye view of every dead end I would have run into. And here's the thing. Would I love a bird's eye view? Yes. Am I gonna get it? No. God is protecting me for that for a reason. And here's the thing. Whatever you're going through, that closed door right now, God closed that door for a reason. He didn't do it out of rejection. He did it as a way to redirect me. And I may have been confused as to why he closed that door, but I'm grateful that he did. Cause sometimes that door needed to be closed. And I needed to and I did and I was too stubborn to realize it. Even though I was questioning why he closed the door that he opened for me, I trust God at the end of the day. He's redirecting my life. Even if it means going through some hell right now, if I'm being honest. But that is it for this episode. You can join me next time as we talk about. I don't forget what we're talking about next time. But yeah, y'all have a great day.